All right. Well, first of all, congratulations to all the scholarship winners, all the Christenberry winners. You guys are amazing examples, even being younger than I am now, something to look up to. So congratulations. And also congratulations to Colin, Ann, and Tom. I think the best part about tonight is seeing how many people, family and friends, came out to show support and celebrate the achievements of the four of us. I'd also like to thank the Big South for this honor. It means even more to receive it from familiar faces. Kyle Calander and Mark Simpson, you guys were there from the beginning. And it's awesome to be right here in the same room 20 years later. Time goes by fast. Mark and I still have a horse game to settle before we go. There's a court right over here, so I'll see you sometime before I leave. And it also means a great deal that 7 members of my family made the 10-hour drive from Cincinnati to be here. My mom, Deb, my stepdad, James, my dad, Nick, my sister Jessie and brother Jonathan are here, and my extended Coastal Carolina family is also here tonight. Coach Alan Laforce, who of course you just heard, his lovely wife Shirley. Coach Danley could not be here tonight. He was my softball coach, but our athletic director, Matt Hogue, and his wife Laura also made a point to be here, so having you all to share this with me is a great feeling. Thank you. Thank you guys for making the time for me, for now and for the last 20 to 30 years. It's a gift I'm very, very grateful for. The time you gave to me had a huge impact on the direction of my life, from teaching me to treat people equally, to guiding me to be myself and to go after what I'm passionate about, and sending me off into the real world as an eager 21-year-old with the confidence and tools to figure it out. I think back to moments and conversations with each one of you that left a very lasting impression. So I'll start with high school, when I had my mom and stepdad make video projects for me for American history class. Then there were the VHS copies of my games to send out to all the college coaches. And then when I said I wanted to be a sportscaster, you didn't discourage me. Instead, they drove up to Chicago and we shot a fake resume reel at the old ESPN zone so that we could send it to ESPN. Then when I started calling games a few years later, they started recording them for me and send me stacks and stacks of DVDs, and now I take up half the memory on their DVR. So Mom, you and James really were my first agents. Thank you for your encouragement and execution to help me get myself out there. But please do not ask me for 10%. I don't have it. Growing up, I had 2 older, much more athletic sisters. One of them, who've heard about tonight, Jessie, was just inducted into her high school Hall of Fame last month. In our little shared bedroom growing up, decorated with 80-something Michael Jackson posters on the wall, we had some pretty intense Nerf hoop battles. And if you think she let me win, you would be wrong. The same tough love showed up when I played against her team in high school when she was an assistant coach. She knew all my tendencies. She knew all my moves. She told the entire team how I would cross over from right to left and I would pull up for my jump shot. Guess what? We lost and I was shut down. I was very disappointed. I was sad, but after the game, I remember a conversation you had with me, and you said, if you want to play basketball in college, then you need to finish high school somewhere else, even if it isn't here. I had been thinking about transferring, and that was the reassurance I needed to take that leap and to transfer high schools my senior year. So Jess, I'm glad you never let me win. It made me that much hungrier to do it myself. It also sure helped that Coastal Carolina is the golf capital of the world. My dad would make friends on the plane, guys who needed one more for their foursome. He'd fit in around, then he'd make it on over to Kimball Arena for a 7 p.m. tip. He was there for home games. He was there for away games. As you heard Coach say, on road trips, you could find him under the basket, rebounding for one of us, correcting our shots. Dad, I still feel pretty bad about the time you came to Hampton, and I fouled out in the first 10 minutes of the game with a technical. I was still working on my temper at that time. Thank you for being an assistant coach and cheerleader from the stands, and then being there to talk all about it over post-game steak dinners. Coach Laforce, I can only imagine what was going through your mind in 1997, especially during my visit when you drove my mom and I down the spring break strip in Myrtle Beach. I was all kinds of ready for college after that. So after coaching men's college basketball for 40 years, Coach Laforce took on a new challenge as the women's coach, and what a challenge that turned out to be. He inherited a team with talent and spice. We were never afraid to speak our minds, from the shoes we wore to the ball we played with and where we were going to eat after the game. I might have been a little more vocal than most, but I just call that being an analyst in the making. On road trips, we would make him literally so nervous he couldn't even eat in the same room as us. But we learned to listen a little bit at a time, and by my sophomore season, we reached the Big South Championship. The next season, we won 20 games, and again, reached the Big South Championship. So right before the start of my senior season, Coach came up to me and he said, "We're down 3 starters this year. You're gonna have to score." So having that green light, Coach, was a game changer for me. I had the belief from you that I could take over a game. Sometimes I did, sometimes I should have passed the ball, but knowing that I had your confidence meant the world to me. My only regret is that we didn't give you an NCAA tournament berth. I know how much you wanted to take us there, and believe me, though, that the impact you had on us was much bigger than cutting down a net. You prepared us for real life. Your love for the game, your endless energy, even now into your 80s, and your passion to teach is the example of how to stay young at heart. Thank you for the wisdom you passed on, and to your amazing wife, Shirley, thank you for treating us like you do your own daughters. Being 10 hours away from home wasn't so bad when you knew Shirley was cooking up something special that night. So last week I was actually looking through some scrapbooks and I came across my letter of intent. 20 years ago, in May, I signed up to play softball at Coastal Carolina for Coach Stanley. Basketball didn't have any money. He was actually the link to bringing me to Conway, and he was the man that brought us to the dance. My freshman season, we were Big South champs, and we flew to Nebraska for the NCAA tournament. So he's not here tonight, but Coach, thank you for seeing the potential in that homemade softball tape that, yes, my mom and stepdad made for me. He'll always be the voice of the Chanticleers, and he'll always be the reason I began a career in broadcasting. Matt Hogue made me believe I had a shot to work at ESPN, even if they didn't, and made the call to Dan Shoemaker, who eventually hired me 2 years later. We even called a few games together, and there was one I'll never forget. It was when Radford beat Liberty on a last-second shot in the Big South semifinals, and I stepped all over Matt's toes. I basically freaked out on the air. It was the first time I had seen Liberty lose in person after going all those years, for life. You guys got to understand, I just didn't know what to do with myself. So Matt, thank you for letting me have my moment. I speak for all former and current athletes. We're lucky to have you as our athletic director. I do wish my teammates were here, though. Making it to the Big South Championship twice happened because of the Sherry McNeils, the Kelly Grays, the Rosalind McGills, the Bunkin Fosters, and the Allison Box. Thanks to Facebook, we still stay connected, and Michelle Rodriguez, now Davis, who you heard from tonight, was a very good point guard. She was my roommate. She was the first to graduate from college in her family, and today she is a police officer in Jacksonville, Florida. She commented on a post I put out announcing the Hall of Fame, and I commented back. I said, "Thanks for passing to me all these years." She immediately called me, which I love. She'll talk forever, and I just let her go. And she said, "Brooke, what are you talking about? Do you know if I didn't pass you the ball, I would be on the bench? Like every play was for you to shoot the ball." So I don't know what your comment is all about. That's why I love her. Her honesty is what keeps us close. So thank you again to all of you for being here this evening, for all of us. Being inducted into the Big South Hall of Fame is an incredible honor, but it's also a great reminder that the hard work and sacrifice you commit to putting into what you love is always, always worth it. Thank you so much, and enjoy the rest of your evening.